Governor, well, very quickly, I want to take a look at your plan right now because the Illinois Policy Institute has come up with basically this chart about who's going to pay higher taxes. Here's what they came up with. I want you to take a look at this. Tell me what you think about this. Evidently, according to their calculations, they subtracted the total personal exemption from income, then multiplied it by this current tax rate. If you take a look at this, people who are making between $14,000 and $28,000, one person will pay higher taxes. A household of two making between $28,000 and $42,000 will pay higher taxes. A household of three making between $42,000 and $56,000 will also pay higher taxes.
But a family of four that makes $60,000 or less, that's usually how you look at the families of Illinois. That's a typical family. People making $60,000 or less will get tax cuts, and in some cases, very major tax cuts.
So you look at this and you think that's fair? You think that's fair?
Well, I think 5 million people will get tax relief. I can't give tax relief to everybody. I wish I could, but under the circumstances where you have to pay the bills. You know, anybody who looks at the budget deficit, when you owe $11.5 billion, you have to do something to straighten it out. You have to get revenue. We got revenue by closing corporate loopholes, by getting money from the federal government, by cutting everywhere we can. I think all those things add up, but the bottom line is if you still need revenue to pay the bills, you got to do the right thing.
I understand what you're saying, but we had the person on here yesterday, the head of the Illinois Policy Institute, and you hear the things that he's breaking down, and just to a layperson sitting there going, oh, look at all these money you can save. Education reform, $45.3 million. Healthcare reform,
not billion. That's 45.3.
Right, but I'm still saying, I mean, these are huge healthcare reform. They're saying you can save between 264 to 466 million. Pork projects,
He hasn't even come up to $1 billion. Let's put it in perspective.
But still, that's still something, right?
That's what I've been doing. I cut up $1.3 billion out of the budget. But something we got to remember. We have 3,000 of our men and women of Illinois, our National Guard, in Afghanistan right now. They've served in Iraq already. When our veterans come home, I want to make sure we have decent health care for them. We have decent jobs for them. Part of that is state government has to provide that. And so there are core priorities that can't be cut. We're not going to throw senior citizens and disabled people and children out on, on the other side of the road and say, good luck to you. No, we take care of people in Illinois who are vulnerable. In the same way with our veterans. I was at a veterans home yesterday. We want to make sure we invest in that so our veterans get decent health care and decent long-term care.
I think we have one more question. This is actually somebody from the Illinois Policy Institute who wanted to ask you a question. You want to answer this one? Okay.
Governor, you're looking for ideas. I'd like to provide you several very quickly. You've said that we have an $11.5 billion deficit. The taxpayers of Illinois have provided this state with a record revenues for years. The problem is on the spending side, not the tax side. And I think an important thing is your tax proposal actually will raise taxes for a cashier making $17,000 a year. A hairdresser making $22,000 a year will pay more in taxes. That healthcare nurse you're talking about who might be married, maybe together they make $78,000 with a child, they're going to pay more in taxes. The proposal you have on your website doesn't account for the fact that not everybody gets 8% in exemptions that your tax calculator provides. The average household in this state is not 4 people, it's 2.65 people. And when you actually look at it that way, that means on average, everybody's going to get a 17% tax increase. One more quick point, since you want ideas, I would love to give you one more. State employees, if you cut their pay to the comparable pay in the private sector, you could save $3 billion. Medicaid spending since 1998 has gone from $8 billion inflation adjusted to $13 billion. Indiana, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Florida are all implementing Medicaid reforms that are cutting costs and having patient-centered, managed care, option-oriented care for residents of Illinois. All those ideas are not in your budget. There's several $100,000, $300,000 for a tattoo administration, several $100,000 for a salmon fund in this current budget you just announced. Those are ideas I think we need to entertain, and we'd love to help you with that.
Okay, well, we invite your participation. I think that's a good way to go. But, when you talk about Medicaid and health care, we're not cutting children off of Medicaid. 1 out of 2 births in Illinois are children. It's paid for. The kids who are born are paid for by Medicaid. And so I think it's important that we understand that our health care costs for veterans. We're not going to cut that. Matter of fact, we're going to increase funding for veterans because we have a lot of veterans returning with post-traumatic stress disorder. We're not going to leave them on the side of the road. I understand we need to make all the economies possible, but the bottom line is the average family in Illinois, according to the United States Census, makes about $54,000 a year. Under our plan, a family of 4 making up to $60,000 a year will not pay higher taxes. They're going to pay lower taxes, and I think that's a fair plan. If you have ideas, I invite them. We'll all work together and try and get to heaven.
Governor, with all due respect, the average family in Illinois does make $54,000, but it's not a family of 4. It's a family of 2.65. That's a 17% increase with your plan. With respect to Medicaid, nobody, of course, is talking about cutting core services. But 10 years ago, there were 1.7 million people receiving Medicaid benefits. Today, there's 2.7 million people. That's a million more people.
A lot of people are laid off and they have no health insurance. Are we going to tell them the wagon train's going on and we're leaving them on the side of the road? You know, we have 500,000 people, over 500,000 people in Illinois who are unemployed. A lot of their employers are no longer paying their health insurance. I walked across the state of Illinois from the Mississippi River all the way to Lake Michigan on behalf of decent health care for everybody. So it's very important that our state, in these tough times, not leave in a mean-spirited way people behind, and I'm not going to do that. I believe that Illinois is better than that. We take care of our neighbor. We understand that it's a very tough economic time, and we will be tightening our belt in government. I think it's very, very important to do that, but things like health care for veterans, health care for children, making sure we have good schools for the future, those things will not be left behind.
Governor, very good point. The thing here is, the point I'm making is other states like Indiana and South Carolina are reforming to provide those core services you're representing while still at the same time trying to save the taxpayers' money. Nobody wants to be mean-spirited, and it's also mean-spirited to reach into the taxpayers' wallet and increase taxes on working class and middle class people right now when they're having enough trouble making their mortgage payment. You
know, under our proposal, we have the most generous personal exemption in the country. Our proposal, it would allow families who make up, family of 4 makes up to $24,000, they wouldn't pay any tax at all. I don't want to tax people into poverty, and we try to put very important tax relief measures in the package so that all the people of Illinois get a fair shake. It's no fun to deal with this. I understand. It's much better to say all is well. And maybe my predecessor did that. But you got to tell the truth to people. You got to level with the people. If you're $11.5 billion in deficit, and as I heard, we're going to look at Indiana and all the other states and what they're doing. We can learn from each other. But the bottom line is we're going to close the deficit and balance the budget.
John, thank you so much. Well, we've got to move on here, John, but we do appreciate your input on this as well. We can all take a deep breath.
John, thank you for coming in. And
hey,
Governor,
no,
can we ask you some personal questions?
Sure.